Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Creative Appliques Layered Floss Font September demo. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I'm so excited to connect with you and show you this wonderful, fun new process. Probably not very new, but some creative ways to go about doing it using different types of supplies and items, and just to get your creativity sparked. So we'll wait a couple minutes for everybody to join. Let me know in the comments where everyone is checking in from. Let me see where everyone is. How's the weather? Are we back to a back to school schedule now? Let me see. Hi, Jill. Thanks for joining. Hello, Ricky. Hello, Dorothy from Bay City, Michigan. We've got Detroit, Michigan, Louisiana. Welcome, welcome. Hello from South Carolina. North Carolina, Alicia. And Alabama. Brenda is in Central Georgia joining me tonight. Rochester, New York. Aloha, Ita. Is that Ita? I hope, if I said that wrong, I apologize. I hope you are safe and well, and we've been thinking about all of you in Hawaii. We've got Minnesota and Missouri, Illinois, Alabama, California, Florida, Virginia. Hello, Anne, my neighbor, Rhode Island, Nebraska. So Chesapeake, Virginia, Jill, another neighbor of mine. Hello. California. Wow. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I'm so excited to have you here and to welcome you to this fun evening. So before we get started, I want to make sure that you know that if you see in the top right corner here, it says #creative. If you put that in the comments, that will enter you into 2 giveaways at the end of the evening. We're going to be pulling one for the $20 store credit to the Creative Appliques website, and we will also be pulling one for winning the Soulful Floss font that we are going to be demonstrating this evening. So make sure you get #creative in there. There's no spaces, there's no appliques, it's just #creative. So put that in there, that'll enter you into the giveaway. So I don't know if you noticed something behind me, if you saw the balloons there that are behind me. And I have some very exciting news to share with all of you. I am celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Creative Appliques, and that is thanks to all of you, my supporters, for supporting me and allowing me to do what I love to do every single day. And I am so grateful to you all. And so what I will be doing in the next few weeks is I will be having a giveaway live event on Facebook and YouTube where I will be giving away hundreds of dollars worth of prizes. I don't have a date just yet. It's coming up in the next week or two because the 10-year anniversary is actually in September, but I'm still waiting for a few sponsors to send me some prizes for you all. And so all you have to do is come join me for that live event. And during the live event, I will be picking winners for thread sets sent from Dime Designs and Machine Embroidery. I have a Mighty Hoop from Mighty Hoops. I have a hoop from Durkee Hoops, the cap frame. If you saw me demonstrate that months ago during a live cap frame, I've got heat transfer vinyl from Caesar that is also partnered with Designs and Machine Embroidery. What else do I have? I have magnets from So Tight Magnets. I have scissors from Famore Cutlery. So all software from Embroiance. The list goes on. So I'm so excited to get some of these fun things in your hands so you can try them out. And thank you to all of my sponsors for supporting me. So yes, 10-year anniversary come this month. And so thank you to all of you. So stay tuned for the announcement about that in the next week or two, because you'll want to be on the live because that's how you win. All right, so that's the first thing I want to mention to you. The next event that we have coming up is going to be October 13th. That is a Friday the 13th. And some people think that's unlucky day, but to me, it's a very lucky day because you will get to be part of, I will be hosting a Designs and Machine Embroidery virtual event. And it's all about holiday gifting using lace. And you are going to want to check in for this and tune in for it because it is an amazing event. The inspiration that you're going to receive from this is going to be epic. And let me tell you, by joining the event, you'll be able to watch it live. You can ask questions there, but the biggest thing that's the most fun about it is it's a shopping event. And so you can save big money on a lot of dime products. So get your shopping list ready. And that date is Friday, October 13th at noon. And you have to register for the event. And so the link is on my website. It's also on my Facebook page. And so you can find the information there. And it's also going out in my newsletters. So that is that event. Then the next event is going to be on another Friday, October 20th, with Joanne Banco. A couple months ago, I was on her show and she asked me to come back on, and we're going to do a fun little demonstration. She has tea time, Friday tea time tutorials. And so I will be a guest on her show on Friday, October 20th. So that's the Let's Go Sew with Joanne Banco show. And you will want to catch that. But if you don't know, I have an events link on my website that you can go there and look at the calendar and see all the events. You can also add them to your own calendar, your Google Calendar, your Mac calendar. So it's there, put in your calendar for you as a reminder. And also, it's always posted on Facebook, and it's going to be in my newsletters as well. So make sure you're following. All right. Joanne just said we may be changing the date, so stay tuned. So yes, Joanne, thank you for letting me know that. And it's so you can see there's Let's Go Sew with Joanne Banco. That's her show. And so if the date changes, don't worry about it because I will have the information about that and I will be sharing that with you further on. Okay, so we talked about all of that. Talked about the giveaways. All right, so let's get into discussing the project, what we're doing tonight. So comments tend to fly really fast. There's a lot of you that have joined me today, which I'm so grateful for, but I just want to be able to address your questions. So one of the things that's helpful for me, if you put a question mark before your question, so put a question mark or two before your question and then ask your question, and hopefully I'll be able to address it. And if I don't get to it at some point, please don't hesitate to type it in again, because I really want to get to the questions if I have an answer for you, or some of our viewers may also have an answer for you as well. So I'm sure many of you have seen this very popular rage, and it's very trendy right now. And I think that a lot of people are trying it. And so let's get into it. All right. So now we're going to switch over to the mat here. So this is the project here. So it's been going around a lot of the Facebook groups. People have been really inspired by it. And it's actually a design that is done using felt, and it's actually hand-stitched embroidery. And I thought, how can we turn this into a fun project to do with our embroidery machines? Because, if you're here with me, you're all about the fun, new, trendy ways of doing things. And so I thought, let's try this with our embroidery machine. And also, if you're here, you have an embroidery machine as well, I hope. So if not, you're really going to want to get one after this. So this sample I created, and I used actually heat transfer vinyl instead of using the felt, because I wanted to try it with heat transfer vinyl to see how that would work. I'm sure the photos that you saw on my Facebook page with the Hokies shirt with the glitter fake rhinestones around it, that was also done with some heat transfer vinyl. It was flock, strip flock from Caesar that Designs and Machine Embroidery sells. And so I thought that was really fun. And then I did a pillow with it. And so it's just been a lot of fun. And I've been using heat transfer vinyl. So I wanted to talk to you about that, share my thoughts and ideas about that, and then also talk about felt as well. So this is a shirt that I did. I have a senior now, and I thought that was really fun. These projects, once you get the hang of it, take about 10 minutes, if that. All right, so now we're going to talk about the supplies that we're going to need for it. So as I mentioned, I have been playing with heat transfer vinyl, and Caesar is my go-to heat transfer vinyl. You can buy it in some stores, arts and crafts stores, but Dime also has it. They've got wonderful collections that they've also paired with their metallic thread, their Kingstar metallic thread, and it is just extraordinary, the effect that it has. But so this is Aurora, and it's very opalescent. So I'm not, if you can see, it's kind of green. It's got a greenish hue to it. So that's really sparkly. That's fun. The strip flock is kind of has a soft plush feel to it, kind of velvety in a way. So that's really fun to use. That's what I used on the Hokies shirt and the welcome pillow. And then there's just your glitter heat transfer vinyl as well. And all of these work wonderful underneath the stitching. So those are great to use. Also felt. So this is kind of where the whole idea was sparked, and the trend was originated from. So you can use felt as well. If you use felt, one of the things you might want to do is use some Terreal Magic to spray it with some of this first before you cut it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. You're going to want this is print and stick target paper, which once you create the design in the software, and we'll show you that in a minute, you can print out your designs on this and be able to put them on your shirts to be able to see them very clearly. Now, I just use regular paper, but you can use the print and stick target paper. Some spray adhesive might help you to hoop it correctly and accurately in the hoop. And we have some Heat and Bond Light. Like to use this on the back side of the felt so that when you use felt, you can actually adhere it to the item. All right. So this is some felt I have here that I treated with the Heat and Bond Light. Then, of course, you're going to want to have your marking pen and your scissors, your plethora of scissors that we all have, a ruler to help you mark it, and some stabilizer, which is going to depend on the project that you're doing. But if you are doing a t-shirt or knit, I love to use the fusible mesh cutaway on the inside of the shirt, and we will talk about the process for that. So these are all the fun goodies and tools that you're going to need to get yourself started. Let me see quickly if there's any quick questions, and then we will jump into the video. Oh, also, so your hoops, of course, software that has the ability to create an SVG file. So that could be Dime's cut and stitch software. That could be Silhouette Studio. It could be your Cricut software or Embrilliance, depending on the level you have. I think you need to have Stitch Artist 3 in Embrilliance to do that. I do not have that software, so I'm not sure what level that is. And let's see, Dime's Snap Hoop Monster works great. I'm going to be stitching a t-shirt tonight, or you can use their sticky hoop. If you use the sticky hoop, I'd encourage you to get sticky wash away stabilizer. So fuse the inside of the shirt with the fusible mesh. Fuse the inside of the t-shirt with fusible mesh stabilizer, and then use the sticky wash away on the sticky hoop. A heat press or an iron, you're going to need that whether you're using the Heat and Bond Light under the felt, or if you're using the heat transfer vinyl, you're going to want a heat press or an iron. The PAL marker, I'll show you that in a minute. A 7511 needle is what I use. I use it for everything unless the project is too thick or too intense to for that type of needle. And then your embroidery thread, and I use a regular bobbin underneath it. All right, so let me see if there's some questions here. Hey, Becky, thanks for joining tonight. And all of your friends, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all being there. All right, let's go slow with Joanne Banko also said, hello, gang. Thanks for being here. Remember to put your hashtag creative, not hashtag creative appliques, just hashtag creative. Hi, Just Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining live. We appreciate it so much. All right, so Jenny asks, does it have to be a certain type of felt so it can be washed? Yes, a washable felt is great to be able to use. That way, when you launder this, it will hold up in the wash. And that's one of the reasons why you want to put Heat and Bond Light on the back of it, so that you can wash it, and it will maintain its shape and not curl up and ravel up around the stitching. Thank you for that question. Yes, Just Jennifer, the velvet, it does look like it is perfect for a Christmas shirt. I love the strip flock. I love it. Okay, so what font, and does the offset SVG come with it for use with a cutting machine? Sherry, this is the font that I showed during the Dime event back in August, I guess it was, and it's called the Soulful Floss font. This is the font here. It does not come with the offset SVG cutting files. And the reason for that is you have to, when you create a file like this, these would be all just as an embroidery alphabet font is. Each letter is an individual file in and of itself. And so to create the SVG with that file, then these would all be separate cut lines. So then the S would cut after the S is here, and then the E would cut here, and then the N would cut here, and the I and the O and the R. So I had thought about creating the font like that, but the reason why I didn't was because you have to know how to bring that SVG file into software, how to merge it all together, how to size it, because you're going to have to space it exactly where the stitching is too. And so I felt like it was just too many steps to get it to stitch correctly. So that's why I thought I would create the floss stitch font and then show you how to create the offset of the design in the software. All right, so where do you get that fusible mesh stabilizer that has the box? The box is from Designs and Machine Embroidery. It does not include the stabilizer. The stabilizer is sold separately. But let me see if I have the link here for you. Let me see, hang on a second. It's just me here, guys. So it takes me a moment. All right, so I'm just going to give you my global link for Designs and Machine Embroidery, and then you guys can go look for what you need there. So yeah, the box is from Designs and Machine Embroidery, and I have a little label maker, and I put the label on there. I got that idea from Becky from Power Tools with Thread. Thanks, Becky. All right, so yes, Sherry, the Dime has the boxes. All right, and let me see really quickly if I missed a question. At some point in this presentation, can you demonstrate how to put together a lowercase a file? But okay, we are going to, I'm going to do that next. I'm going to show you in the software how to do it. Where do you get the washable felt? I found some on Amazon, and I also found some in the craft stores as well. So, all right. Kathy, the font is called Soulful, SOULFUL. Let me get the link for that posted here so you can see exactly what font that is. I will post it in the comments. That is the font. That's the embroidery font. It's just the embroidery font. Floss. It's just the embroidery floss font, the running stitch floss font. It is not the SVG that is behind it for the felt. And then here's all my other floss fonts that I have if you like something else. All right, so let's get into, let me share with you a video now. This is going to be in Embrilliance. I'm going to show you how I created the word file. Tonight we're doing the word Merry for like Merry Christmas. And I'm going to show you how I created the word file in Embrilliance. Because I don't have the level of software that requires me to make an SVG file, I then saved the embroidery file, the word Merry, and then I opened it into my Silhouette software. So watch the videos and then let me know the questions that you have. In the Embrilliance software, and we are going to create a new Word file. So we're going to come up to the A and click on that, and it auto-populates the letters here. Over on the right side in the text, I'm going to type in the word Merry and hit enter on my computer keyboard, and you can see it has changed the letters here on the screen. Now I'm going to go over to the font and I'm going to click on the drop down arrows, and I'm going to select the font that I want, and I am going to choose the new Soulful Floss font from Creative Appliques, and I'm going to choose the 3-inch side. So when I click on it, you will see it changes the letters on the screen. Now I'm going to come down here to the space slider, and I'm going to adjust the spacing for the letters so that they are positioned where I would like them. And I'm going to have to do some manual adjusting here. So I click on the green square and I just slide it over to where I feel it's positioned better and looks better for that letter. And the spacing is correct for what I like. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm going to click on the entire word and I'm going to just center it. That's just a little thing that I like to do. And now I'm going to save the file. So I'm going to come up here to File, and I'm going to save the stitch and the working file. So I'm going to click Save As, and I'm going to name it Merry, and it helps if I spell it correctly. And then I'm going to save it as PES because that's the format my machine reads, and I'm going to click Save. And so now we have the stitch file ready to go. Now we'll go over to Silhouette Studio and create the offset for the cut design. Here we are in Silhouette Studio, and as you can see, I have the business edition. In order to import an embroidery design file into Silhouette Studio, you need to have Designer Plus edition or higher of the software. So those are paid upgrades. So Designer Plus edition or higher will allow you to import DST, PES, JEF, EXP, and XXX embroidery files. If your machine reads a different format than one of those 5, when you're in your embroidery software, simply save the file, the font file, to one of those 5 formats, and you will be able to import it into Silhouette Studio Designer Edition. And then you can also save the Word file in the format your machine will read. So that's one way you are able to use this software. So now I'm going to drag in the word Merry that we created in the Embrilliance software. This is the PES file that I'm importing. And so what we want to do with this is we want to create an offset. And so I have the Word file selected, and now I'm going to come over here on the right toolbar where you see the star with the star around it, and I'm going to create what's called an offset. So I have my mouse hovered over the offset
and it shows blue, and now I'm going to click on it. And it's going to create an offset for the lettering. Now, how large of an offset you want is going to be solely dependent on what you think looks good. This one is set at 0.20, and that's what I had last time, and I kind of like it at that length or that offset. I think it looks good. So I am going to click on apply, and I am going to save that, and it's just that simple. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the embroidery file here, the word Mary in the Soulful Floss, and I'm going to slide it off the screen because I don't want to save that as part of the design. Now, very important, before we send this to our cutting machine, we want to make sure that we have it mirrored. So either you flip it now, so it's mirrored when you cut it on the HTV, or you flip it when you get to your cutting machine, and you want to flip it horizontally. So I will come up here to... Actually, I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to flip horizontally, and it flips the word horizontally, because when we're cutting a word out in HTV, we need to have it mirrored, because the glue side, the iron-on side, is face up to us, and the carrier sheet is the part that is down on the mat. So you want to make sure it's flipped. So now I have flipped it, and I'm going to save it as Mary, and then I can send this to my cutting machine.
Okay, so there you go. That's how simple and easy it is to make an offset of the embroidery design. So it is simpler if you have multiple levels of embroidiance. You can also do this if you have Dimes cut and stitch software. You can bring in an embroidery font in there and also create this offset from there as well. And there are other softwares that will do it, but the important thing I wanted to show you is you can take the font, create a word out of it, save the word, and then if you have cutting software that reads an embroidery file, you can take it into there and create the offset as well and save the offset. So now what I did is I took that design and I sent it to my brother Scan and Cut. Now there's two very important things, many things I want to say actually, and that's why I'm doing this live, because I thought it was easier than trying to address multiple questions via email. So if you're doing felt, if you're doing it with felt, you do not need to mirror the felt, right? You don't need to mirror this, because you're going to take the felt, you're going to put some Heat and Bond Light or some kind of adhesive, or as Joanne mentioned here, let me see if I can find her comment that she said, yes, Joanne said she likes the Kunin, I think, brand of felt, and she likes to add a layer of lightweight fusible tree coat interfacing to the wrong side to beef it up a bit. So thank you so much, Joanne, for that wisdom and knowledge. And so when you're cutting the felt, you do not mirror it. You use the word directly as it is, and you put the Heat and Bond Light on the back of it. Unless you're going to put... Okay, so if you're going to take the felt and put Heat and Bond Light on the back of it, you want to make sure that you want to leave the paper on there, and then you would put the felt side down on the mat. So then if the felt is down on the mat, the heat transfer vinyl is up, then you want to mirror it for the felt, okay? With HTV, you always mirror it, because the carrier sheet, the thick, clear carrier sheet that is on the HTV, that needs to go onto the mat. And so with HTV, you're always going to mirror it, okay? With the felt, it's just going to depend on if you're doing the felt without Heat and Bond Light, or without it. And so you would mirror it if it has the Heat and Bond Light on it, because you're going to put the felt side down, because you don't want to put the paper on your cutting mat. because the paper doesn't come off easily. Ask me how I know. Okay, so that's for another time and date. Anyway, all right, so Patty says, is it possible to embroider on your piece of felt and then cut out around your felt by hand? Absolutely. You absolutely can do that. And I know a lot of people who have been doing that, who are very skilled with stitching. I mean, sorry, with trimming. I'm not that skilled with it. And so, yes, you can absolutely do that, but then you need to think about how are you going to attach it to your shirt or your item. If it's a hat, it would be really cute. You can glue it on with some E6000. If it's on a bag, you can glue it on or do some heavy duty heat and bond light to adhere it. But if it's a shirt, you need to think about how you're going to adhere it on there. But yes, you absolutely can do that. Yeah. So let me see what else here we have on the questions. Courtney says she's been a Silhouette user for years and she had no idea she can work with embroidery files in studio. Yes, you can. You can if it's designer plus edition or higher, okay? And that's the important thing. It won't work in the free version. It won't work in the basic edition. And it doesn't even work in the designer edition. It's the designer plus edition and business edition. And then they have some new other types of software I'm not familiar with, so you want to check that first. But the formats that it does read is PES, DST, JEF, XXX, and what was the other one? There's one more. PES, there were 5. So those are the ones that you can import. And like I said, if your embroidery machine does not read one of those files, when you create the embroidery word in your software, save it in one of those 5 formats that you can import into Silhouette Studio, or and also save it in the format your embroidery machine will read. One other point that I want to mention as well is once you've created your embroidery word and you take it into your software, Silhouette software, to create the offset, and you save all those files, the embroidery word and also the SVG cut file, you need to remember that you're not going to do any resizing after those have been saved, because once you save the word and save the SVG file, when you take it to your machine, your cutting machine, and cut out the word, and you take your embroidery file to your embroidery machine to stitch it out, and you've done any resizing, it's not going to line up correctly. So that's another note as well. All right, so let me see what other comments we have here. Can you use Brother Canvas Workspace to do the same thing? Joanne, do you know about the Brother Scan and Cut? I have a Scan and Cut, but I got it not too long ago, and I have not played with it a lot. So I know how to cut a few things, and I love playing with it, but I'm not sure if you can do that in the Brother Scan and Cut, but we will see if we can get an answer for you on that. And hello, Marilyn. Thank you for joining us this evening. So nice to see all of you here. Okay, so back to Joanne says, remember, it is still craft felt, so not super durable and long lasting, but pretty good. Yeah, that's the stuff that you would pretty much buy at, like Michael's and Hobby Lobby and stuff. Those are still, inexpensive kind of craft felt. And so you need to beef it up like Joanne was mentioning. Joanne did say the Brother Rotary blade is great for cutting felt on the Scan and Cut. Yes, thank you, Joanne. That's exactly how I actually cut my Marys, and I was playing with it and did different ones. Will this work with Cricut? I do not. I am not a Cricut user. I do not know if Cricut will read embroidery files. If someone is here and knows the answer to that, if you would pop that in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. Caroline, thank you, Caroline, for joining. She said you can create an offset in Canvas. So does the Scan and Cut read embroidery files? That is the question. Um, let me see. Wonder if you could pull an embroidery file into your Cricut software. Not sure, Don. I'm going to try to find out the answer to that. Maybe somebody here knows. So Joanne says she doesn't know if you can do offset. She hasn't tried it, but she'll look into it. So Dee says she can save an embroidery file to SVG and Cricut will read that. Okay, but that's an SVG file, Dee, and that's what we created with the offset in the Silhouette software. Is we saved our embroidery file in Brilliance. Okay, and all right, so the thing about the font that we're doing tonight is a floss stitch font, and it mimics hand embroidery. And so that's one of the things that, how do you save a floss stitch font to an SVG file and then have the software read it? So that's one of the reasons why we created the word in Brilliance as just a stitch file and then sent it to the Silhouette software to create the offset to make the big cut. All right. Let me see what else. Craft felt, most felt shrinks, so she pre-shrinks them before she uses them when an item is washed. No issues. Okay, great, Sherry. So Sherry, does it shrink in the dryer, or does it just shrink with water if you wash it in the washing machine? Okay, so Sherry says Cricut doesn't import embroidery files at all. Thank you, Sherry, for that. Appreciate it. Becky, Janet says you're a scan and cut expert pro. Do you have information for us on this? Okay, you can save it as an SVG in Brilliance. You can say if you have Silhouette Studio, you can save an applique design as an SVG in Brilliance. You cannot save a font like a running stitch as an SVG file. I don't think you can do that. I tried for hours. I contacted Embrilliance directly. They said there's no way to create an offset in Embrilliance without having Stitch Artist level 3. And I do not have that level. So yeah, okay. So a lot of people are saying they can save an SVG file from their software. I have software as well, embroidery software, that you can save in my level of Embrilliance, which is the Enthusiast. So it's Essentials and then Enthusiast. So I have Enthusiast and I can save an SVG file, but if it's an applique design. I can't create an SVG file out of a running stitch font unless I haven't been asking the correct questions and am not clear on what I'm asking. That's what I was told from Brilliance and from Lisa Shaw, who to me, she's like, the goddess of Brilliance software. So I checked my sources first to double check to make sure, because if my level of software was able to do that, I would have showed it all in Brilliance and been done, not having to switch to Silhouette software. But I thought it would be helpful too for those of you who have Silhouette software to be able to see how to use that as well. All right, so let's get into some other things here now. All right, so we have cut out. Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about felt, just a little bit about it. And this is cheap craft felt from the arts and crafts store, local arts and crafts store. One of the things I did want to show you is, one of the things I talked about is I treated it with Terreal Magic prior to cutting it on one of them. So these two, this one here has nothing on it. It was just cut. I put some heat and bond light on the back of it, mirrored the design, put the felt down on my cutting mat and cut it like this, heat and bond light side up. And it was just the felt itself. And so it was kind of flimsy. And so one of the things that you have to be careful of is when you're pulling up the felt, that you're not stretching it as you pull it up. And that is going to distort it. And then when you try to put it down on your item, it's going to be all twisted and too big. And so, see that? If you go ahead and just take this with the heat and bond light and you threw it on the shirt and you ironed it on, you're going to have some of this stitching here not directly in line with it. So I played with some Terrio Magic. Now this green here doesn't have any Terrio Magic on it. You can see it's really floppy. This here, this piece of green here, it is treated with Terrio Magic. So you can see the difference in the stiffness of it, okay? And then also on the back of this is the Heat and Bond Light. So the two of those together made a beautiful combination to cut the felt with, okay? So that was a great way of doing it. So that helped a lot with being able to cut the felt easier. So Joanne went and found out for us. Brother Scan and Cut DX models will read PES and PHX. PHX is the format saved from built-in designs on recent high-end Brother machines. PES, of course, is a regular embroidery format. So the Brother Scan and Cut DX models will read PES. So now I need to go back and play with my Scan and Cut to see if I can get the PES file to in there and do an offset of it. Now I've got more work to do. Okay, so these are the felts that we were playing with. And so there's two ways you can cut the felt, all right? You can put the Heat and Bond Light on the back of it, or as Joanne said, she uses her light knit tricot on the back of it. But I also like the Heat and Bond Light because then that way we can glue it down, we can iron it down onto our shirt and it's going to stay there. It's not going to ravel up and cause issues with that. So if you use Heat and Bond Light on the back of it and you want to do it paper side down, so you would then cut it just like this, right side up. Okay, and doing it that way will allow you to then put some transfer tape or some clear, this is the carrier sheet from the heat transfer vinyl, put it on here and to gently pull up the felt from the cutting mat. Because when it's face down like this, you have to be extremely careful pulling it up that you're not going to stretch it, okay, as we talked about earlier. So it's something to be aware of, something to kind of play with. That's why it's really important to print out your templates. So you can see here I printed out both my SVG cutting file and have the marks on it. And then I also printed out just the embroidery font so I can look at it as well. So Jojo asked, can you use any true type font and change the type of stitches you use? So you can definitely use true type fonts in some software to be able to convert those into an embroidery file. But it's really hard to take a true type font and change it into a running stitch, because it's essentially a running stitch is just a line, right? It's just a line of stitching. And most of the time when you bring in a true type font, it's going to change it into like a satin stitch or a fill stitch. So that's my information for that. All right, so let's talk about now how to get it onto the item. So one of the things that I did is I hooped it ahead of time because I didn't want to take the time out from us, you know, being able to show you and talk to you and answer all your questions and ideas and all of that. So I took the item and I hooped it already. So what I did is on the inside of the shirt, on the back side, I have the fusible mesh stabilizer ironed onto the back of it. So that's already ironed on. You can see I marked it all really well. And then I hooped some tearaway stabilizer. Now I know you all are going, oh, tearaway stabilizer, but it's a knit shirt. Because I have the fusible mesh already fused to the back of the shirt, I'm hooping the tearaway. If you wish to do a double layer of cutaway, you can most definitely do that if that makes you more comfortable. But on the back, inside the hoop, I just have the heavyweight tearaway. All right. And so now we have it all hooped, and we want to make sure we have it exactly centered. So if you have a machine that has a laser that can show you where the item is and you can adjust it, then you are lucky, and you don't need to be able to adjust it in your design and worry about so specifically where you're going to place it. But if you're not that lucky, you can use a laser like this and get exact placement of your item. Okay, so this is my Mighty Hoops Hoop Master hooping station that I like to use here when I'm working with t-shirts, because it allows me to be able to put the inside of the hoop on, or the bottom of the hoop, put the bottom of the hoop on, slide the shirt over, and then put the top of the hoop on. Okay, so now you see we get this exactly at the zeros. This is the laser. Turn it. Let me show you how to get it exactly correctly even, and then I will show you what this thing is. So it's the POW laser, and it's great for being able to get perfect placement on things such as this that you're going to want to have perfectly placed. All right, and so now I'm going to take my design here and put it down on the markings, and it's now even and centered from all of that. You can draw lines, but then you're hoping that you drew them correctly and that you hooped it correctly and everything. So that is one of the things that I like to do. Now let me get this out of the way here, get the pressing mat, and we will iron this down. So I'm just using a regular household iron on this today because I have I'm using felt with the heat and bond light. If I was using the heat transfer vinyl like I did on the other ones, I would use my hoop. I would use my heat press. All right, so I'm just making sure I have this lined up because it keeps moving on me. And the reason why I'm being so specific on the alignment of this is so that when I get to the machine, you're going to see you need to make sure that it's at the correct orientation for stitching out the letters on top of this and hopefully getting it directly in the center. So it does take a bit of finagling, but you're going to figure out what you're comfortable with and how easy, play with it a little bit, work with it, see how you can get it to where it's easy for you. All right. So now that's on there with the heat and bond light, and that's our felt, right? And that's cute just like that, right? That's totally cute. You can totally just have it just like that ironed on. All right, so now we are pretty much at the point of stitching. So now let me get this flipped inside out. All right. And give me some clips here to put this shirt out of the way. And then the plastic that I had, okay, so Patty, if you're talking about like that tan brown plastic, those are Teflon sheets that you use for putting on heat transfer vinyl with a heat press. And so those are, you can buy them like a pack of 3 for like $10, I think. So they're relatively inexpensive, but they're just great for, when you're pressing with heat and bond light or doing anything like that, that you don't want to get on the back of your iron. Those are awesome to use. Oh, the clear stuff, that was part of an old transfer sheet, that a carrier sheet from heat transfer vinyl. All right, so let's go to the machine. All right. Okay, so here we are. These out of the way. Alrighty. So now my machine decided to go to sleep on me. All right, so this is the design we're doing, and it looks pretty spot on right there, right on the center, but I'm still going to use my camera because I like to. And it helps me to look exactly where the stitching is. So you can see here, it's a little shifted, it's a little off. So let's just check a little more of the design. Yeah, so it's a little bit, the design is a little to the right, so you can move it down to the left and a little bit towards me. Still needs to go a little bit towards me. All right. So it is somewhat of a little bit of finagling and moving around and rotating the design a little bit here and there to get it exactly where you want the stitching to be. But that's one of the things about the printable templates that helps you as well, because you can kind of see where it needs to be. All right, so let's stitch, and I will answer any questions you have, because this is going to take all of about 5 minutes to stitch. I'm going to stop it just for a second, and I'm going to trim that long. I don't know why that wasn't included in the, was left out of the offset. Just noticed that. Okay, so let me see if we got any questions going on. Love this demo. Thank you for joining me, Stephen Norma Kaufman. I appreciate it. Melody says she's cut her Teflon sheet to fit each of her hoop sizes. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I will need to do that. That's a great idea. Yes, Dawn, correct. It was a carrier sheet that's used for the, it comes off of the heat transfer vinyl. It's the stuff that's on the front of heat transfer vinyl that you remove before you stitch. Okay, let's see. Jessica, you don't need to have a camera like that. It helps to get it precisely on there, but using the printable templates and printing out the lettering will help you to be able to get it correctly set. Yes, Brenda, the Silhouette Cameo 3 will cut felt like that. You're just going to need to search for the exact depth and speed and pressure and all of that that the machine will use. I'm not well versed in the silhouette cutting features, and I don't want to steer you wrong. Yes, Dawn, I have a Brother Luminaire. That's correct. It's a Brother Luminaire XP2 with the XP3 upgrade. So Maureen, you can go back and rewatch. All of this is recorded on YouTube and also on Facebook, so you can go back and watch the beginning. I used Embrilliance to create the embroidery letter. It's my font, the Soulful font from Creative Appliques, and I created the word Mary in the embroidery, saved it, and then imported it into my Silhouette Studio software and created the offset for the felt. Thanks for joining me, Julianne, while you're cooking dinner. I hope it's something delicious. Any other questions we have at this point in time? Let me know. Has anybody tried this yet? Is everybody excited to try it? What is your first project going to be? This is great. I did it on a pillow. I think I'm going to do it on a yard flag. I think it'd be really cute on a yard flag. Tote bags. Be really cute on a Halloween tote too. Do the word treats. Do the word boo. I think it would be really cute. If you want to use heat transfer vinyl, Caesar does have a glow in the dark heat transfer vinyl, and that would be adorable to do it in a heat transfer vinyl. The word boo on a Halloween bucket, Halloween tote. Dee said she's going to do a pillow for the football season. And Courtney says she's going to try it over the weekend. Please come into the Creative Appliques Embroidery Fans group on Facebook and share your projects. We love seeing your projects. We love seeing what you've done with our designs and what you've created. So please come share all of your creations and projects with us over there. We'd love to have you. Mary Kay, the offset was 0.2. It was 0.2. All right, we are done stitching. That fast. And I slowed my machine down. I didn't do it at the full speed. I slowed it down. So here it is, all completed. And that's it, guys. This is done. That's done. So I don't know if you noticed with some of the letters, because this is not a word that was created, but it is an embroidery font that we're just putting a bunch of letters together, it created some jump stitches in here. Because there's not a way to make every letter start at the same spot without repeating over it and creating more stitches that are going to get in the way. So, what do you think, guys? Let me know what you think. I'm excited to try this. Do you feel like you can accomplish it? I think you can. It's really pretty simple once you figure out how you want to do it. I'm just ripping away the stabilizer here on the back. And now I have my Christmas shirt all done. Thanks for hanging out with me while I got my Christmas shirt done. All right, so. And we'll just squirt some water on these spots to get rid of them. But there you go. That's the felt with the Soulful Floss font on there. And it's a really thick bean stitch, so it looks like it is hand stitched. All right, so let me see what other questions we have here. Patty, I don't know why the offset didn't go all the way up on that part. I have to go back in and look what the Silhouette software did. I'm not really sure. It's not a perfect system, but if you know how to go in and work with nodes, and I had caught that, I didn't catch that, but if you know how to go in and work with the nodes in the Silhouette software, I could have totally just pulled that up more. So, well, any other questions before? Make sure you get your hashtag creative in to enter the giveaway. There's 2 drawings tonight. That would be adorable, Dawn. Do an entire family of shirts like this. And the thing about it is, because this is the only stitching there is for the lettering here, it's not a heavy, dense, thick embroidery, right? So that's something that'll be awesome. Thank you, Joanne. I really appreciate it. Could you group the stitches together and not get those jump stitches and embroideries? Grouping them together, Jody, is not going to mold them into one design. All it's going to do is make it one design that's grouped and that will move together, but it's not going to take it and make it just stitch succinctly all together without the jumps. So grouping doesn't mold it, I guess, or, mold it into one file, as it were. Thank you, Janet, for joining us. I hope that you learned a lot. What was the laser you used? Yes, thank you, Shauna. I was pulled that out to show it to you all and forgot. So this is the PAL, PAL, PAL 3 laser. And it is from Designs in Machine Embroidery, and is called the Perfect Alignment Laser 3. And you saw how it makes that crosshair on there. This is amazing for getting anything straight. The thing that I love about it too is the tip here is what you twist, and that's what moves the angle of the laser. So, and it's got a really nice long bendable arm. It has this table mount here, so you can move it anywhere you want, but it makes getting things perfectly placed and aligned very easily. And it plugs in with, it has a USB plug on the end of it, so it can be plugged into a regular AC adapter, or it can be plugged into like your computer if you need to. Diane said she's been using templates. So yeah, the laser works amazing. I put the link in the comments if you want to check it out. Yes, HTV, Kay plans on using HTV. Yes, Loretta, it's the PAL 3 laser from Dime. All right. Any last questions? Farmhouse, yes. Linda says, will farmhouse lemonade floss will work? Yep, that will work as well. All the floss fonts work and make it look super cute like that. Guess you need a silhouette for Christmas. See, this is the beautiful thing about doing these videos, because then you can build your Christmas list too. You're welcome. All right. is this a set of alphas? It's Pam, it's the embroidery letters, and then we create the offset in the software. Go back and watch the beginning of the video to see how we created the whole thing together. All right, so if there's no other questions, I will. How do you add the rhinestones like in the Hokies design? Okay, so Sherry, that is done in the cut and stitch software from Dime. And they have a lot of videos on using that software. Ashley Jones, who is the like master of all things Dime software, has been doing a lot of tutorials on the software, and you can learn how to use it. And it's so simple and easy. Just like we created this offset here, then you take that and you create a rhinestone design. With one click of the button, it creates the rhinestone design for you. It's amazing. So I put the link for the software down below. Yes, Jennifer, that laser is really cool. What marker did you use on your shirt? I used, let me see, I moved it out of the way. Now where did it go? Oh, right here. It's a water soluble one, so I'll just have to, it's called Mark Be Gone. Mark Be Gone. It's one of my favorite ones because it marks really nicely, but then it comes out really easily. And I've ironed over it for years and I still am able to get it out. So now, Lorette, I hope I said that right. Now is the time to add the rhinestones. So once you are done, you have ironed on your felt or your HTV, you have stitched over it. Now I would add the rhinestones because you don't want to be doing a lot of pulling and tugging and moving of the shirt. So that's one of the things I wanted to mention too. That's why I actually hooped the shirt first, and then I ironed the word on. I ironed the felt on after it was hooped, because if you hoop the felt, if you iron on the felt, you attach the felt or the HTV, and then you put your shirt in the hoop, by pulling and twisting and moving and trying to get it centered, you're going to compromise the position and the stretch and movement of the shirt. And then the letters aren't going to line up so well. So make sure to hoop the shirt first and then iron the word on, if at all possible, if you're not using a heat press. Yeah, Susie, the PES files will also cut the jump stitches too. But yes, DST files will cut the jump stitches, but so will PES as well. Thank you, Debbie, for joining us. All right, any last questions? Can you use it? Can you not use the iron on it, the spray adhesive on the back of the felt, and then iron it on after the stitching is done? You can if you want. I just like to make sure that the felt is not going to move around, and I don't feel like the spray adhesive is as permanent or as solid, being able to get it firmly attached. All right, so I am going to share my screen now. So hopefully you got all of your hashtag creatives in there so that I can now share the screen with you and pick our first winner. Drum roll, please. This is going to be for the $20 gift card to the website. Patty Parker Hatch, congratulations. You won the $20 gift credit to the Creative Appliques website. So go to the website, send me an email letting me know your email address, and I can add that to your account. Congratulations. All right, the next winner will be for the Soulful Floss font that was used in the demo. Stitch and Hearts. Congratulations, Stitch and Hearts. Send me an email through the website letting me know that you won the font and your email address so I can get that to you. Very much appreciated. All right. So, guys, I thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I know your time is valuable, and so I greatly appreciate you taking the time to be with me and hang out with me. I hope you learned something. If you create one of these, please remember to come join us in the Facebook group, Creative Appliques Facebook group, and share your projects with us. And let me know what else you would like to learn in a future live. And remember to follow us because there's going to be the 10-year anniversary giveaway celebration. That's going to be hundreds and thousands of dollars of giveaway prizes. And so I'm waiting for a few more sponsors for gifts. But once I get that, I will be sure to share the date with you. So thanks for joining me. And until next time, make your life creative.